Hello everyone and welcome to Math 2412 for the fall. My name's Terry Barnes and I'll be helping you through this semester with our course. I wanted to take this orientation video as an opportunity to show you how the course is set up and how I think you should approach it and what the expectations actually are. So let's start with the screen that you're looking at. You've already looked at the announcements and hopefully you've watched the you're watching the orientation video. So let's talk about what shows up here. Here's where the announcements are, and there will be one of those at least every Saturday or Sunday for the following week. There may be others in the interim, so be sure you're checking your announcements. I will try to email those as well, but be sure that you're checking the announcements. Up here is your e-text. You could choose to look at that if you wanted to. Assessment shows your grades and attendance, but I would say Pearson would be the best place to look for your grades. They should be synced, but the ultimate thing is the Pearson. Here is where the Pearson icon is, and we'll go there in a minute, but here's where you can open it, or you can do a pull down menu here and get that. So either one of those will work. Then in the course content, I've pretty much put things that I want for you. Now, some of these will not show up when you actually log in because you'll be on the student view, and some of them are not, they're just for the instructor view. So let's start here and go with the instructor plan. Let's go here. So here is the instructor plan, and let's go down here. The information, my instructor name, email, phone, office location is there. Office hours are here. There's another place that you can see those. Required text, there's no hard copy of the books required. There is a copy of the e-text that's included with your tuition. You do need a graphing calculator. It is required to make it through the course. I teach from the 84. And so if you have something else that you use that works for you and you can do everything that we're asked to do, that's fine. But anything that I'm showing you how to do with the calculator will be on the TI 84. Then we'll move down to this attendance and participation. It does talk about that you can't miss more than 25% of a face-to-face or miss 25% more of assigned work in an online course. You can be withdrawn with a grade of W if you go beyond that. So we'll talk more about how attendance is taken in a little bit, but you want to be sure and follow that guideline. And then there is a general weekly schedule, but there is a calendar that we'll go over shortly. So that's just in the syllabus. Let's look at grading. My grading is split between homework, tests, and a final exam. And the homework you can do over and over again till you get it right. Now you can do 3 tries on any question. After the 3rd time missing it, it will regenerate another question. Tests, 6 tests plus a comprehensive final. So there's you can take each of my tests twice. The higher of the grade will count in your average. If you do well on the first time and you don't want to take it a second time, that's totally up to you. The tests count 50% of your final average. And here in red, it does remind us before each test is available, all the homework must be completed with at least a 70 for that unit. A score of 0 will be assigned to that test if the student didn't meet the prerequisite for testing by the due date. So the test won't even open for you if you've not passed the homework. Final exam is cumulative. You get to take that one time. It will count 20% of your final average. And I think And here's my attendance policy. So, attendance is based on participation in the course from Sunday to Saturday. You should have activity, whether it's homework or a test, in the course each week. A report will be run each week on Sunday to determine activity in the course. That'll be for the previous week. And any week in which no work was logged, that'll be an absence. You're allowed 4 weeks of inactivity before you could be dropped. You'll receive an email when you're on that inactivity report in any week. And remember, it goes Sunday to Saturday. So that's how the week is counted. So keep that in mind as you're doing your work. All right, let's go to the next thing. All right, these things probably aren't showing in yours. Let's go to the calendar. All right, as we look at this calendar, everything is available August 25th. Actually, it's probably the 24th, and I need to change that. I will fix that on the calendar. And it's all due on September 28th. So that's chapter 4 and chapter 5. All of that is available at the beginning, and it's due September 28th. So you have the due date for those 2 chapters to get all the homework done and the testing done by September 28th. Then on September 29th, the rest of the course is going to open, and you've got the trig stuff, which is chapter 6, 7, and 8, and there's a test that's there. You've got some polar, which is chapter 9, and then an exam. Then you've got conics, which is chapter 10, and then you've got sequences and series, that's chapter 12. So trig, chapter 9, 10, and 12 are all due 11/29. So you've got 2 big due dates, the 28th of September for the first 2 chapters, November 29th for the rest of the work. Now that means you don't have to finish, you don't have to do it all in 1 week, but you have to do something each week. And then ultimately they are due here by the 29th. On the 29th, the final exam will open, and it is open till December 9th. So that's how the course is set up. That's what you'll be looking at. Okay, let's go back to the start. All right, there is a calculator help tab. So if we click that, it's got some calculator phone apps that might be good for you that you could get if you do not have your own hard factual calculator in your hand. There's some calculator worksheet and videos for help if you need help. There is an Inspire. If you have an Inspire, there's a guide for piecewise functions, greatest integer, that sort of thing, and regression notes. So there's some calculator help right there. Most people in Precal already have the calculator kind of down, but if you don't, there's that. All right, and then there's some handouts here. I'm going to come back to this. There's some handouts. This is something I would print when you get to the trig unit, print this handout and have it with you for homework, for tests, that sort of thing. You will have to do a trig graph on a test. You're going to need this form, and so that's right there. College algebra, if you've forgotten formulas and models for college algebra, that's a great resource. That's from my college algebra course. When you get to chapter 10, the conics, here's hyperbola, ellipse, and parabola. Those might be helpful for you. And again, there's some TI Inspire help. So that's handouts that would be helpful for you. Now, this office hours and door schedule, let me put that up there. So this just gives you, again, where my office is located, my office number, conference times that I'm in the office, 7 to 8 on Tuesday and Thursday, and also 12 to 3 on Tuesday afternoon. And if that doesn't work for you and you need something, you can always contact me. And if we can't solve it by email, then we could Zoom by request. This is my schedule for any reason you might need to have that. All right. All right, so this is the last one, problems, lecture notes, and videos. So let's push that. So problem sets, you're gonna, let's click that, and let's go to chapter 4 and section 4.1. So 4.1, these are some problems. It's just a printout, and it's fairly, you should have this kind of down because this is really algebra. The answers are at the end. This is practice so that you could get ready for the homework. If you think you can go straight to the homework, that's fine. But if not, this is what you ought to prepare to do the homework. So that's a problem set for each chapter, each section. So let's go back to here. And no, I want to go here. Next one is lecture notes. So we'll go here, we'll go to chapter 4, section 4.1. And these are the notes that you would get if you were in class. And we would go over some things, work on that. And then we'd come to that problem set and we would do those in class with that paper, not a book. This is just that. And this one we did on the calculator, and I've got some screenshots for you, how to put it into the calculator. And then you go on, and the rest of the problems have the answers, or they're worked out if it requires something like that. And you can see that all of that is the work for those problems. So let's go back. So now we have looked at the problem sets, the lecture notes, and here's the lecture videos. This is my YouTube channel for Precal, and there's a playlist for each chapter. And so 4.1 would be here, and you can play that. It goes through the notes and goes over the work for the problems. So I would say to go through, if you feel like you need to prep for the homework, this is what you should do. Problem set with lecture notes on it and the video. If you don't need that, that's fine. These are references. And if you feel like you can go straight to the homework, then be my guest, do that. But these will really prepare you for the kinds of homework questions that you'll get. All right, so I think we're ready to actually look at the homework. All right, so say you've done 4.1 and you're ready to do the homework. So if you click either here on the Open Pearson or on the pull down menu, either place, but let's click here. Okay. And then the best way, because you're not going to see these instructor tools, you would have these student links down here. But I think if you'll just hit Open My Lab and Mastering, all right, that's going to come up, and there are your homework assignments. And this says it's due September 28th at 11:59 p.m. You get down to chapter 4, and it reminds you with this flag that you have to have a 70, at least a 70 on each of those, and they won't open. This test won't open for you. You also are told that you have 2 hours as a limit, and you have 2 tries for that. If you go down to chapter 5, same thing. You have a little bit longer on chapter 5. It's a little bit longer information. And so 150 minutes and 2 tries. Now, nothing else is showing up because remember, the rest of that work doesn't show up till September 29th. So, and let's go look at section 4.1. All right, and we want to get started. All right, here's the first question. Find the intercepts of the following equation. In the notes that I gave you and in the practice, we said we were going to do that on the calculator. So that's what we would be doing. And you would, when you're, let's see, what is it at? Find the intercepts. And if we clicked here, and we want to do the intercept, and it says ordered pair. If I click here, then I've got an ordered pair icon right here. I don't need this thing. I think that's just to hit that. So let's just pick 4 and 5. All right, type those ordered pairs, and that's the x-intercept. Let's say that that's that, and maybe we have a y-intercept. Let's say y is 0. I'm making up things because I have no idea what this is. And then let's, not sure what this one is. The intercepts are, so let's go, well, you would figure out that there's more than one x-intercept, but we're gonna go ahead and just get this wrong because it's gonna be wrong. But let's put that there, and we'll just put some stuff. Oops. We're just trying to put some stuff. Okay, so let's check answer. One or more of your responses is incorrect, and it's going to let you do it again. You can view an example. You could go to the next one. You can clear all and do it again. One thing I want to point out, this get more help, if we click that and ask my instructor, this is the best way to get help from me. This is what I'd like you to do, is click that, and inside here type, I tried this, and what else can I do? Something. Tell me what you did, what you're struggling with, whatever. And then you would hit send. And what it does is send me your exact question with your numbers, and I'll be able to help you as the best I can easily from there. So if you get stuck and you just can't get it, you can do the get more help there. If you do clear all, well, you can start over. If you want to just go ahead to the next question, you can go next and say, leave this question anyway. And it counted it wrong for you right now, but you can go back. So that's the way this goes. It would be helpful for you if you go over the problem set and lecture notes first, because they're gonna look like these questions. So that would be how to do the homework. All right. So that's how you would do all of those. And when you get ready to do the test, you would click there, and you will have a certain amount. Now, there's no show work. I don't believe I have any show work questions in chapter 4, but starting with 5 and all the rest of the test, there are questions that in the test say show work. And you need to, if you have a tablet and you can write on it, you can put the work directly into the test that way. If not, you need to do it on paper and take a picture of it and insert the picture into the test. And that will be the way that you will get credit. You won't get credit on the test question until I grade that homework. So it's not all the questions, but there's probably maybe 6 at least in each test. So it is a way for me to see your work. So be sure that you are looking for those and you're making sure you could do them. All right. The last thing I would like to show you is the student gradebook right here. And when you go there, it is going to show you your average right here. And here's the homework assignments. You have 35 of those. You have 6 tests, and you have 1 quiz, and the quiz is the final exam. So you won't get to that till the end. And you can go in and it will always show you where you stand in the course and what your average is. All right. I will see in my side of the grade book, I'll see how much time you spent on something. when you worked it, that sort of thing. So keep that in mind. And e-text is here as well as on the front of the course. So I think that should get you started. Be sure that you read this important deadline down here. According to state and college policy, you must submit work by Tuesday, September 8th at 6 p.m. Excuse me. If you don't, you will be dropped from the course. That's a state regulation. So it's really easy. The first day that you're in the course, you should go in, open up a homework section and start a little bit of work, and that would get you totally covered for that deadline. So please be sure and do that. I look forward to working with you, and let me know if I can help you, when I need to help you, and be sure you're checking your email.